one of the great tricks I was taught by a brilliant director I worked with years ago is that all of your energy should come from the other person. As soon as you're thinking, I have to make myself upset, I have to make myself angry, I have to make myself scared, whatever, then you're expressing yourself, which no one ever really does in life. All of my energy now is going towards, all of my internal energy is directed at trying to communicate something to you. And why this director was brilliant is that there's the vocabulary of acting is always what's, the one that we hear Lovey's talk about is what's your motivation, what's your intention. Although that is what you talk about often in rehearsals. And this guy had it that doesn't really happen. What happens is you've got in your head a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. So in this moment when I'm trying to wax lyrical about, the art of acting to you, my best case scenario is that you go, wow, that's actually brilliant, yeah. And my worst case scenario is that while I'm talking you go, look at your watch, and I think I've lost you. And the tension between what you hope someone's either going to do or is thinking and your fear of what they might be thinking or might be about to do, that's where the drama comes from. And so, good acting is always about concentrating on the other person. That other person's reaction or indifference might be making you furious or heartbroken or something. But if you direct all of your emotional energy towards what you want them to be doing, thinking or feeling, you'll get something real. A lot of the time you don't get that as actors, and a lot of the time we, all of us, including me, have to be reminded to stop showing off and painting a colour of sadness or surprise. Real acting is incredibly specific. And I can give an example of that. I did a film with Robin Wright Penn called 9 Lives, which is one of the best things I've ever done, one of the most beautiful and complex pieces of writing and complex piece of acting. It was a two-hander, me and her. It's 9 separate stories. Each one is a 15-minute short film, essentially, shot in one unbroken Steadicam take, so it's like doing a short play. And the writing was brilliant. And I bump into an old lover. We're old lovers, we haven't seen each other for years, she's pregnant, and all of our conversation is loaded with our history. So I said to the writer, because it refers obliquely to where we met and what we used to do and somehow how we broke up. You can't tell exactly what these things are. So we said to the writer, tell us what you had in mind. He said, no, you guys go away and work it out. We said, well, you must have something. You refer to the Balkans, what is that? He said, I don't know. Of course he knew. But he wanted us to make it real. So we went off and we huddled somewhere and we made up, I just met this woman. You have to make up these very specific things about where we met, what kind of sex life we had, why we broke up, who I was unfaithful with, the fact that we were trying to have a baby, she wanted to have a baby, she came off the pill, I found out, we had a big argument, all this stuff about the background. The Balkans was the time we locked ourselves in a hotel room because we'd seen the bread queue massacre in Srebrenica, in Sarajevo rather, and so we stayed in the room, just got drunk and had sex for a weekend. I just met this woman, I don't know her, and we'd come out and we'd do the scene, and all of this dialogue suddenly is rich with history. So when there's something quite innocuous in the dialogue, she goes, you got any kids? And I go, no, I'm sterile. The fact that we'd decided that one of the reasons we broke up is she'd been wanting to get pregnant for years, and when she came off the pill, I hit her, meant that little exchange, suddenly, the irony of it hit us. And the director watched it and he loved it. And he hadn't told us any of this stuff, but in fact, he'd empowered us to do it. And that, for me, acting is always about absolute specificity. You're never playing a broad stroke of, oh, you guys used to love each other. There's a very particular memory that you share to do with everything, a common understanding or a common gulf. So the thing about acting, I think, is it's very simple, but it's not easy. And it's just trying to be real. As soon as you feel fake, you're fake. People criticize. You saw the stuff in the paper. Daniel Day-Lewis, I can't believe it. He wanted to sleep in the cell the night before he played Jerry Conlon. Why the fuck not? If he was good as Jerry Conlon, you've got to trick your imagination as far as possible into thinking you are where you are. You don't really stab people when you mean to stab them, but so there's some terrible myths around, and I work with young actors sometimes who said there was a masterclass on with a very famous actor telling them things like, look at someone's ear, but try and get your face flat on camera like that. Don't blink. Work with people like that. You go, what are you doing? They're trying not to blink. I'm trying not to blink. Why? People blink in real life, It's just about trying to find what's real with somebody else. And what's real in real life might not be what's interesting on camera, but that's more to do with the script often. Make the most dynamic, the most dramatic choice you can, because in the end, it's entertainment. So if you can make a truthful and exciting choice, then do that rather than a truthful and boring one. So two people in a room, if one person wants not to be there or isn't interested in what's going on, that's not engaging to watch. If one person hates the other person, is desperate to get away, that's interesting to watch. You know. My first memory is my parents had bought this corduroy sofa. And the first memory of being like a conscious person. I have fragmentary memories of being on a beach and, you know, sitting in a dinghy that I'd weed in and stuff. But basically, my first conscious memory, I remember like deliberately branding it in my brain, going, I must remember this. It's the first time I had a proper grown-up thought. Must have been about 6 or 7 or something. And they'd gone out. I didn't have to leave me alone, but my brother's probably in the other room. But they had a beige corduroy sofa, and I got a bread knife, and I sawed the arm, and I pulled all this foam out because I wanted to see what was inside. It didn't seem like a, you know, it wasn't an act of vandalism. I just was curious. I want to know what was inside because it was squidgy. And then it dawned on me this probably wasn't going to go down very well. And I thought, fuck, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this. they're going to punish me. They'll think I did something bad. I was engaging with these complex things. I didn't mean anything bad. They'll think it was bad. I guess it is bad, but it isn't bad, so I didn't mean it bad. And I genuinely remember thinking, that's a very complex thing to think at my age. I think I'm a grown-up now. And that's my first complicated memory. We used to buy, they used to do Top of the Pops albums, but not by the original artists. They'd come out with kind of airbrushed people on the front in a kind of, you know, the edge of a circle was airbrushed with a man and woman dressed vaguely like the Carpenters in it. And there'd be, you know, they weren't the originals, but there were people just like them. They had names like, you know, the Bootles or whatever it was, you know, and they were like a 4-piece band with the Yamaha organ. And they were the first time when I listened to pop hits, I always listened to bad cover versions for years. The last book I've read and enjoyed was DC Confidential by Sir Christopher Mayer, which is the memoirs of the British ambassador to Washington. And he was British ambassador at the time of 9/11 and the decision to invade Iraq and the alliance between England and America. And he's very, very amusing, very irreverent, extremely naughty, for which he was castigated by the Foreign Office. And it's just a really good read. And of course, I was about to play the ambassador on BBC One for the State Within, so it was pretty useful as well.